迎是华尔街时刻，我是米少于超，现在位于华尔街纽约证交所，为您带来最前沿的财经资讯。美东时间本周一，油价受到了美元走高而打压，但是仍然维持在了上一交易日的大部分涨幅，主要是由于主要产油国在维也纳的会议中表示，油市稳定正在接近再平衡。石油输出国组织欧佩克以及俄罗斯等非欧佩克产油国自2017年初期以来，已经帮助提振油价在过去3个月上涨15%左右。油价是否可以长期稳定在50美元上方？更多大宗商品市场的分析，我们来连线芝加哥商品交易所的交易员。First, let's see crude oil market. From the technical chart, it shows that the key to the further upside is Brent staying over 56, and WTI has no target higher until it can close over the 200-day at 51. So, what's your observations of the levels, and do you see these levels stable for longer term, or begin to look a little precautious?
No, they're precarious. I think that crude oil is definitely, both Brent and WTI, has a bullish tone to it. There's several reasons why that we can go into. Number one being the ease of getting Brent. We still have issues from the hurricanes, so the draw on WTI crude oil is going to show up in the coming weeks' numbers, but it hasn't shown up yet. Imports are now attractive on WTI, so that price is going to start to rise. The spread between Brent and WTI has become such that you can include shipping cost of WTI to some of the foreign markets, and it will still be cheaper than Brent. And then on top of all that, IEA's demand predictions seem to be coming true. When you include the foreign demand, refineries are going to start drawing out crude oil. So it seems to me like these resistance levels are going to break.
OPEC's production cuts have been met with rising U.S. shale oil output. U.S. crude oil tops 51 today for the first time in 5 months. Is OPEC a real trick in this anymore?
Yeah, OPEC matters now more than it did 6 months ago, quite frankly. Again, when you see what happened with the hurricanes and how we're about to get an entire season where refineries generally slow down, they're going to be pulling crude oil out to refill the stockpiles. Refined product are now down at their 5-year averages, where crude oil stockpiles are still much higher than their 5-year averages. So if OPEC were to extend, and I do expect that they will, they didn't come to any sort of agreement last week in Abu Dhabi, but the Russian foreign oil minister was quoted as saying it's not realistic to look at any extension until January. And you've got the Iraqi oil minister saying they should extend all the way through 2018. That's significant because Iraq was one of the people who didn't really comply to their promised production cuts. So them saying they want to extend it seems like they may be redoing their math a bit. So OPEC is actually a player because of circumstances, and the U.S. rig counts continue to decline.
Well, let's switch to the gold market. We know that if the dollar continues to rally and North Korea stays quiet, gold can still continue to fall. Is it likely that we could in this situation in longer term?
Well, no, it didn't happen. I mean, you had the minister from Korea talk about President Trump's comments as tantamount to declaring war on North Korea, and we saw gold jump. So, no, I have said last week that I didn't think that they were going to stay quiet. They didn't stay quiet. Gold jumped. The dollar still stayed fairly stable, but commodities will rise in the face of a stronger dollar given geopolitical tensions, and that's exactly what we have right now, and they seem to be escalating.
The U.S. Federal Reserve started its balance sheet reduction last week, as well as still pricing in a one-time rate hike by year-end. Do you hold the same view that the Fed will raise interest rate one more time this year? Do you think it could well take a longer-term downtrend?
No, again, I don't think gold is anywhere near any sort of reversal down. I think the Fed is going to raise rates. I think they want to raise rates. The market is finally starting to price that in. I think they feel like, as Janet Yellen was quoted as saying in her press conference, they don't want to use quantitative easing unless they have to. So they want to reduce their balance sheet and they want to raise rates because they prefer to use the adjustment of rates as their main policy tool. So in order to do that, you have to have a little bit more room than Fed funds rate at 100 to 125 basis points. You've got to get that Fed funds rate higher in case there is some sort of recession or, God forbid, some sort of event that would cause the Fed to want to intervene on the easing side. So I think they want to raise rates. I think they're going to, and I think they're going to continue to reduce the balance sheet.
Then what is the prediction on the dollar trend?
Dollar trend, I think, is slightly higher, but it has as much to do with euro weakness as we saw with the German elections. So I think my view prior to the German elections was a stable dollar. I didn't think it was going to go much higher. I didn't think it was going to go much lower. But now I have a little bit of a bull feel to the dollar, mainly because we're going to see weakness in the euro. And we saw some weakness in the yen versus the dollar as well when the Japanese government announced another stimulus package on top of their strong PMI. So they had strong manufacturing PMI, which should have strengthened the yen, but they announced another stimulus package on top of that. So I'm bullish the US dollar in the short term.
Do you think that US President Donald Trump and the GOP wasted precious tax reform time on another healthcare failure? And how much can it affect the market?
I think the very first attempt to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act was wasted time that could have been used on the tax plan. So I think this one is again. They're due to release a tax plan this week, the administration's tax plan. I think it's going to be cut down immediately by Democrats, and I think it's going to fail as the other policies have failed, only because I have no other history to go on. So until I see a tax plan actually get through the House and through the Senate and signed, I won't believe there's going to be one.
好的，以上就是今天的金石华尔街时刻，感谢您的收看，我们下期再会。